My name is Declan Mulcahy, and I'm a mini Melbournian. I sort of started feeling like Melbourne's landmarks weren't really being recognised enough, or at least Sydney always seemed to have the edge on Melbourne. I sort of wanted to create something that didn't just show like a one-to-one, perfectly detailed representation of Melbourne, but more a representation of the way Melbourne feels and the way Melburnians see their own city. Maybe the biggest thing I want to do with it is make Melburnians look at their own city with new eyes. Like, doing this project has been an amazing experience in that sense. I've walked through, Collins Street and Lonsdale Street and Burke Street with totally different eyes, looking up at the buildings, kind of noticing things I haven't noticed before. And that's something I'd really love. That's an experience I'd love to impart on my fellow Melburnians with this project. Mini Melbourne was really inspired by, I guess, my long time love of little Lego nanoblock kind of construction stuff that was a huge part of my childhood.
I think it started off with like the Eureka Tower. It was just like a tiny little project that he sort of spent an afternoon doing, gradually growing into like something that he spends all his sort of spare time just like fiddling away with while he's doing other things, to now something that Daniel Andrews is posting on Facebook about. So
it's been funny watching them watch me take this project to kind of bigger and bigger levels, because when I started it, it was just like, classic Declan, just got his little sort of nerdy hobby going on, working away at this little thing. They supported it obviously, but they did see it as a bit silly. And so when they kind of saw it getting attention from people online, or especially when it ended up in the newspaper or whatever, they were all a bit like, oh, okay, maybe we wrote this off too early. And I think they're all kind of quite excited and surprised by the fact that people outside of myself are actually interested in this project.
Like, we saw his post on Reddit. I saw his post on Reddit, and then it all came out of nowhere, which was pretty funny. And he was just like messaging our family group like, oh, this person contacted me. Some people that I work with told me the other day, they were like, we saw your brother in the newspaper, and I was like, oh, I know.
So basically at the moment, I've just come up against a wall of these blocks are really bloody expensive, and it's sort of it's hard when I'm a full-time student and only a part-time worker. So that's why I've started this Possible campaign, to get other people who might be equally passionate about Melbourne. One of the biggest things I want to do for the people who are supporting, if the campaign is successful, is give them the chance to actually see mini Melbourne, because pictures don't do it justice. Being here and actually being able to look at the details is very exciting. You can request a mini Melbourne landmark be made. There are only a limited amount of those ones, because there are only a limited amount of landmarks. But with that reward, you basically say, hey Declan, you've left this out of your project, whether it's the MCG, as someone's already requested, or the Shrine of Remembrance. When it is put up there, you'll have a little card or a little note somewhere saying, the Shrine of Remembrance of the MCG proudly brought to you by whoever.
It's definitely difficult, and I know he's put a lot of time into what he's done so far, and he still has a lot to do, but I think it's definitely possible, and people are obviously interested in it, so hopefully that leads to some funding. It makes it easier.
I'm optimistic that people are excited enough about the project and want to see it completed that we'll be able to get to the goal and be able to show it off to the world, basically.